You're this perp back with another video, and I just got done watching the final season of Lock and Key, and man, it just feels so bittersweet. I feel like this series was just kind of getting started, but when they announced pretty much that season 3 was going to be the last season, I was just like, damn, that's kind of unfortunate. So this is just going to be my my thoughts on this final season and this series as a whole. Did this really give all our characters closure? Does this ending feel rushed? I just want to kind of give you all of my thoughts and kind of try to do my best to break down this last season and whatnot. So, spoilers. So let's get right into it. So, starting with the first episode, we're picking up 2 months after, the events of season 2. And then we're kind of getting set up for Duncan's wedding and whatnot. While this is all going on, you have our new villain that we got introduced to in season 2, Gideon. He's just kind of in the background for the first few episodes, and he's just kind of watching the Locks and just looking at how they move. And it seems like everybody's having a peaceful time because they feel like everything is all good. Dodge is gone, but they don't know that there's another threat just looming. And we get introduced to two new characters in the first episode that are trapped in the snow globe, that also introduce one of the new keys that we see in this final season. And there's some interesting new keys that they show off in this. The animal key is another one that's kind of interesting. That one comes into play. But these two characters, Ada and Dorothy, I think, and they kind of serve Gideon. They're kind of like his servants. They're able to get out of the snow globe by pretty much letting Bodhi find the keys. Well, find the key, the snow globe key, which is in the freezer conveniently, and gets himself trapped, and they're able to kind of escape. But I thought that these two would have more of an impact. It was pretty much really just something to move the plot forward, just so they can get the snow globe key. I think there was a lot of ideas for a fourth season or future seasons in this season, but they kind of crammed it all into just one. And it's just like you could have done without those two. They kind of get thrown into the mirror key, whatever the fuck. And yeah, that's pretty much it for those characters. On the other side of things, you have Tyler kind of separating himself from everything because of Jackie's death, and that really hit home for him, and he decided to kind of just leave. He's in like Montana or something like that, but he also has a new kind of love interest named Carly throughout this whole entire kind of season. And I like Carly's character. I wish we kind of would have got more development with her, but it's kind of telegraphed where they're gonna go with her character once you get introduced to her and whatnot. And it's mostly for Tyler, but Tyler is kind of like at that point where he's pretty much an adult and he's starting to forget the whole thing about magic. But it's starting to come back to him as he starts to see things that seem familiar to him. And it becomes this whole thing between him and Kenzie, where Kenzie has to kind of lie to him, even though to kind of protect him. And this is what he kind of wanted in the first place. But it kind of sparks more issues as Bodhi. When we get back to Bodhi, this is the big part of this season, is where Bodhi finds another key, which is the time shift key, which that's a really dope key. And that was kind of like alarming to me. It's like, oh man, they're going to introduce time travel, but it's not used in the way that I thought it was going to be used, as Bodhi's able to kind of go back in time for just up to like 5 minutes. But the more he goes back, the more he just wants to kind of learn more about his lineage and his father. He just wants to see his father again. And Duncan warns him, just like, don't mess around with that key because it's really unpredictable, which leads Bodhi into going back into into the past once again only to kind of be in the same spot where we were at season 2 before they were trying to trap Dodge. And what's interesting about this time travel aspect is that when you go into a specific time period, they can still see you and you can still interact with the people. They're probably just not going to remember you once you jump back into your regular time. So Bodhi's dumbass, pretty much tells Dodge, like, before they're about to trap him, saying, like, you lose, Dodge, and stuff like that, and pretty much giving away that, Dodge gets defeated, which leads Dodge to pretty much come back into the story by swapping bodies with Bodhi. And that's a really interesting kind of thing I wanted to kind of see play out more if they had more seasons, to see like this version of Bodhi being possessed by Dodge, which was really cool because you get to see him be an asshole. And I like Bodhi's character in this too, because he's kind of going through his own kind of thing with him missing his father, and just seeing that Nina is kind of, it seems to him that it looks like Nina's kind of moving on from their father because she's really into Josh. So he's definitely kind of feeling some type of jealousy towards that, and why he wants to see his father more. And just, I like how they kind of play with that. But for a brief moment, we get Dodge back, and at first we kind of see just all Dodge wants to do is get these keys, and he comes into contact with Gideon, and then ends up kind of working alongside Gideon, but doesn't really like Gideon, because Gideon's whole main goal, and why he is kind of an interesting, entertaining villain, I would say more so than Dodge, is that he doesn't really care to use any of their power. He wants to use all the powers of the keys to pretty much to open the doors from his realm, the demon realm, into the real world and stuff like that. Very Stranger Things-esque, I will have to say. And that was a cool goal, so Dodge kind of doesn't really like that, because he likes messing around in the real world and stuff, and this kind of gives him a redemption arc. I don't know how I really feel about that. I think I'm cool with it, because that's what this whole last season is about, like redemptions, second chances, and stuff like that. It's dope to kind of see familiar faces again. Like, we definitely get those moments where the people that we've been following since season 1 come back into play with this final season. And just the whole build up, it's definitely starts off slow, but then once you see, Dodge take over Bodhi's body and whatnot, it definitely does get interesting. But then Dodge ends up kind of working alongside the Locks to kind of defeat Gideon, because it's, the saying, the friend of my enemy is, however that saying goes, whatever, you get it, you know what I'm saying? But then we get introduced to another key called the creation key, which is a very important key, the last key that Gideon needs to kind of completely open up the gates of hell, pretty much. But I like how our characters get redeemed, and I like how Sam also comes back into play, where he also helps the Locks pretty much defeat Gideon at the end of this. And how Gideon gets kind of defeated, I'm okay with it. I feel like they could have done more with it, even though Gideon, I feel like, he was definitely a big threat that you had to kind of take out, and you needed the right people to kind of outsmart him, because he's very ruthless. He doesn't care about killing people or hurting children, smacking up women. You know what I'm saying? So I just think they could have definitely done a little bit more with his character, but I think that's just due to just not having enough seasons. They could have probably done something with one more season to kind of really make his character stick. But I think what works for me with this season overall is just, like I said, the redemption of certain characters, how everybody kind of gets their that last moment to shine, and how they wrap everything up by pretty much throwing all the keys back into like that portal and stuff to kind of seal the deal and just kind of move away from Key House. It pretty much is a happy ending for the most part, and I'm kind of okay with that. um I want to kind of see what they do with Lock and Key in the future, if they make like a movie and it's completely different from the Netflix version. But yeah, I think this was an okay finale. It's just kind of bittersweet that it's only 3 seasons. I definitely do think just the story that's been told here. Um, all the storylines have gotten wrapped up pretty well. I don't think they left anything, open, or there was no really any plot holes. I just wish that we could have explored this world a little bit more. That's just how I feel about the ending. I thought it was pretty satisfying for what it was. If you like this season, let me know in the comments below. Do you think this was a solid finale to the overall story that they were telling? Do you feel like it was a little bit rushed? Do you feel like it was a little too contrived? Let me know all your thoughts. And also, I might make a feature video very soon about like just ranking all the different keys, because I think that'd be pretty interesting, because there's a lot of interesting dope keys that we've gotten introduced to throughout this whole entire series. But this just been my thoughts on the final season. It's sad that it's coming to a close, but let me know how you guys feel about everybody's different arcs and stuff like that. Who are your favorite characters of this series? Let me know. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.